As we trace the history of Mount Sinai, we trace the history of an institution that was a local community hospital, to a regional hospital, to a national institution, to one that has an international impact. And as we look at this year's medallion winners, we see that reflected in what they do. Some are fantastic physicians and known throughout their communities. These are physicians who take care of the most complex problems and are truly doctors' doctors. Others have had influence that has brought Mount Sinai affiliations with critical institutions, and still others have led our country in its efforts around healthcare. And this group of recipients is a great reflection of who we are and what we've become and where we're headed.
Growing up in a large, poor family in inner city New York, you can't leave a situation like that behind. Our aim, once we get on track for medicine and health careers, is often to position ourselves to become an outstanding physician, to go back home to address some of the issues and challenges of communities that we grew up in. And so mine was always to do precisely that.
Gary Butts is part of the fabric of Mount Sinai. He's our lead person in making sure that we have a diverse student body, faculty, and staff. Having a diverse workforce is for the common good, and it defines Mount Sinai. And Gary is responsible and my partner in helping make this happen at Mount Sinai.
I've been fortunate to have gotten the honor to become a physician, and then beyond that, the honor to be positioned in a leadership position in a great institution like Mount Sinai. One has a platform to do something, and occasionally to make a difference, occasionally to have an impact.
Not only was a great doctor, but he was clearly a leader. We were responsible for North Harlem Hospital, and pediatrics was not very strong there. He really made it into a first-class pediatrics department.
Some of the concrete contributions that Dr. Butts has made at the Icahn School of Medicine is the fact that we have a standalone diversity center, which I think is probably one of the most premier models of diversity centers in schools of medicine and in academic medicine across the country.
If one were to ask me what I want students to remember about me, that they remember that I made some difference, small as it might be, in the way in which they think about medicine and the way in which they would fully commit themselves to work that they intend to do, whatever it might be.
Gary Butts' legacy to future medical students at Mount Sinai is that he was their advocate, their champion, their support, their mentor, and their role model. He's someone who has the long view. He's someone who has worked for decades in small but steady increments to make social change, both in the medical school and in the hospital, now in the health system.
Still a lot that needs to be done, and things that can be done by us as individual physicians as we advocate for better equity so that folk in communities that aren't as visible can ultimately have better outcomes. My work is not glorious work. It's not work that's meant to get honored. It's done because at the heart, it's really about positioning us to make a difference. Mount Sinai has always been a place, to me, that has allowed me to live out my dream, to commit myself to issues that are important to me, and occasionally to make a difference.
I think any physician, of course, wants to help people. As a public health practitioner, you want to help a whole population. And I think in the roles that I've had, the jobs that I've had, the problems that I've helped the country address, I've been able to have that type of impact in many different ways. My fire in the belly was to help make the world better.
Steve Galson, having leadership positions as Surgeon General of the United States, other leadership roles at the FDA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Energy, he's had an impact on a national scale. Dr. Galson is an alumnus of Mount Sinai and continues to make us feel very proud for all the great things he has accomplished for our nation.
When I was in high school, I worked in a summer job testing the air in factories. And I saw that workers were exposed to terrible conditions. That may be one of the early sparks to make me see that you can have an impact on populations as well as individuals. The Surgeon General role, it's really a communications post to be the nation's doctor. If used adequately, you could make a difference communicating to the nation about a public health problem. We zeroed in on childhood obesity. There was a tremendous amount that I could do in terms of communicating to the country about the impact that would have on people's lives and the impact that would have on the entire country. I think I helped turn it into the national issue that it has become.
Mount Sinai takes enormous pride in the large number of leaders in American public health whom we have produced over the years of the school's existence. Steve Galson is preeminent among those public health leaders.
What distinguishes Jacobi Medallion Recipients is this need to make a difference in the world, make a difference for society, make a difference in the system in whatever way their talents allow them to do that. Dr. Galson's made an impact over the course of his career by focusing his attention on the quality of healthcare that we deliver as a nation to our patients, to society, and the safety of our healthcare system.
This is an incredibly exciting time to be in medicine. We're able to target therapies and target drugs for individuals and their individual genetic makeup to help save people's lives or reduce their suffering is a legacy that I think would make me very happy. In public service, working for the government, people rarely say thank you. So to have my medical school come and recognize what I've done in my career is humbling and just a huge honor.
My first job during high school was as an orderly in an emergency department, and I remember being very excited about the environment. It's providing care to so many diverse types of patients, and many of these patients have conditions that are an unknown. It's a puzzle, and I like puzzles, and I like solving problems, and so the emergency department fits with my character. I've been at Mount Sinai now 20 years. It's played a large role because it's given me so many opportunities to explore the development of the specialty of emergency medicine. It's also given me a very strong platform to work from as we've created, I think, one of the premier emergency departments in the United States.
Andy Jacobi, he stands at the front line of Mount Sinai by directing the emergency room. Grace under pressure. It's one of the best characteristics you want to have, that when things are really tough, that's when you perform your best. That defines Andy Jacobi.
Emergency medicine has taken on such an important role in our healthcare system. We are the safety net of medicine. We are the resource for people who have no resources. There's a tremendous reward of being able to play that role, to be able to impact people's lives at their most vulnerable time is a privilege.
Dr. Jacobi represents the kind of characteristics we look for in the people who get the Jacobi Medallion. Dr. Jacobi leads by example, is a leader and role model. The Mount Sinai Emergency Department under his leadership has emerged as not only the finest in New York City, but one of the finest in the country.
I want to create an environment that's stimulating and exciting, that nurtures innovation, that stimulates creativity. We've been able to do that at Mount Sinai. I want to use different and novel ways of teaching to make the next generation the best generation possible.
Working with Andy Jacobi has been an incredible experience. He was instrumental in taking the emergency medicine residency to its current level of excellence. And now as chair of the department, he's built one of the finest departments of emergency medicine in the country. By every measure, he really embodies what the Jacobi Medallion is all about.
It became actually a dream to receive a Jacobi, and I'm honored to be recognized. I'm also honored to be part of this tradition, which I think is at the core of Mount Sinai.
When I was an undergraduate, I really wanted to be in a profession that combined intellectual curiosity and research with the ability to really help people. And medicine offered that opportunity. What gravitated me to palliative medicine was the opportunity to focus on improving quality of life and to develop a long-term relationship with patients and families. For many people, a good quality of life means being at peace, means not being in spiritual distress. So it's about thinking about who is the person as a whole, what is important to them.
Sean Morrison is one of the nation's leaders in palliative care, so that we provide an end-of-life experience that is enriching and meaningful both to the patient and to the family. Without leaders like Sean Morrison, Mount Sinai wouldn't stand for being the best both at the beginning and at the end of life. And for that, Sean, we thank you.
A huge focus of our program here is teaching healthcare professionals how to communicate effectively with patients and families, and that's what I want to instill in our learners. If somebody says, I'm really, really, really sad, or I'm really distressed, or I'm really scared, the easy option is just to say, it's going to be okay. We're going to make it better. The harder thing to say is, tell me more about that. What is it that you're frightened of? And to listen, and often not to be able to have an answer right away. Those are the skills that we try to teach. If my students leave me thinking that patients are people, and persons and not a disease, and that their focus should be on that whole person, then I've succeeded.
Sean Morrison is the epitome of everything we expect in a Jacobi Medallion recipient. He's a master clinician. He's a recognized leader in his specialty. He has generated, extended, and enhanced the whole concept of palliative care. He's a worthy recipient of the Jacobi Medallion.
Mount Sinai was one of the first 5 academic medical centers in the country to start palliative care. The award means to me Mount Sinai's recognition and pride in the accomplishment of the group here that developed palliative care. My mission is essentially to insert palliative care into the genome of American medicine, to just make it a part of the landscape.
I think that the parts that make Sean such an amazing mentor and such an amazing physician is his dedication to patients and their families. The thing that's always amazed me about Sean is the way that he answers questions in creative and novel ways, in the best way possible for patients and families.
What have I learned from patients with serious illness? I've learned what's important in life. I've learned a lot about what it means to live life to the fullest. And I think that's very, very important for physicians to hear.